Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2022 movie named Faster starring Dwayne Johnson. Keep alert, spoilers incoming. The movie begins in a prison with a former bank robber named Driver who is on the verge of getting released. After his 10-year sentence, most of the prisoners seem to have a grudge on him. He gets taken to the warden's office, who briefs him to avoid troubles because they are the ones that led him here. Uninterested in his words, Driver awaits for his time of release and gets escorted outside. With no one to pick him, he breaks into a run, seemingly set on something. After running a certain distance, he retrieves a Chevelle LS5 with some documents inside containing a photo and address. He always moves with a photo of his deceased brother, and after preparing his gun, he sets off. After a while, he storms into a building at Bakersfield and move to an office and shoot a man on the spot and leave. He then goes to meet Roy Groen, the man who gave him the car and the information he found inside. He pays him for those services and then asks him for the names and info for the rest of some list he compiled for Driver. Roy asks for more money because it took him a lot to collect the information, but Driver seems unwilling to give him more money. Roy calls his bodyguard to confront Driver, but upon noticing his tattoos, he gets terrified, calling him a ghost, and run away. Roy is left with no choice other than giving him the list, which he goes through and drive away. We get introduced to a detective referred to as Cop, who is a struggling drug addict. In the middle of a drug deal, he pays for some drugs which he uses secretly while inside his car. Afterwards, he heads to a crime scene where Driver shot a person earlier, and upon meeting Cicero, he informs her that he has been assigned on the case. Even though Cicero seems somehow surprised, she proceeds to work with him, and they review the footage of the assassination. The man you see here is a professional assassin referred to as Killer, who stays with his girlfriend named Lily, who he loves a lot. Shortly, Killer receives a call with a new assignment, and his target turns out to be Driver. Being a professional, he has all the necessary equipments, and Lily is already aware of his job and helps him in setting himself. On the other hand, Cicero informs Cop that she got some lead on the case after learning about Driver from the prison warden. We learn in a flashback that Driver and his brother named Gary with his crew carried out a bank robbery. They went head to head with the police, which tried to pursue them through the streets. With Driver being professional at what he does best, he managed to elude the police, making their heist successful. However, after the heist, they got attacked by another crew who filmed the events as they captured Driver and Gary. They asked them the whereabouts of the money they stole, but Gary stopped Driver from saying anything. Being scared of killing him or Gary, Driver directed them where the money was kept, and they retrieved it. Shockingly, one of them slit Gary and killed him, giving Driver a tough experience as he looked around, noticing all the gangsters around. He told them that he would kill them all, but he got shot on the head. However, Driver survived after a surgery and a metal plate to fix his skull. Cicero realizes that he is taking revenge on the people that killed Gary. Already at the possible location of his target, Killer is already tracking the place. Shortly, he notices Driver in place and set his gun, though Driver is here for his second target, who turns out to be one of the goons that attacked him with Gary. Upon moving out, Killer follows him, though inside the man gives a girl a drink. It turns out she's drugged and wants to take advantage of her. Driver, who is looking for him all around, suddenly bumps into his room and shoots him on the hand when he tries to hold the blade. He pleads, but Driver, however, mercilessly kills him and spares the scared girl. While leaving, Killer attempts to shoot him, but upon realizing it, Driver ruthlessly attacks him with high speed, giving Killer goosebumps. Shortly, Driver manages to flee to his car, leaving Killer surprised. He calls Lily and informs her about his experience with Driver, praising his expertise and speed. Cop gets blamed by his ex-girlfriend named Marina after reaching late for picking up his son for a baseball game. While on the way, Cicero informs him of another shooting and tells him to reach the scene as soon as possible. However, Cop reaches late with Cicero already at the scene, and the victim turns out to be a sex offender. The eyewitness informs them about the shootings between Killer and Driver, terming Driver as a movie star. Driver moves to a motel where he learns about the news coverage on his shootings. In the morning, Cicero notices Cop's injection marks, but Cop covers them and changes the topic to his tattoo. He informs her about his ex-girlfriend, who was a confidential informant and was a drug addict but now is in a rehab. Driver goes to his ex-girlfriend's house, who also turns out to be on his list. While inside, she gets a strange feeling and shortly notices Driver. She slaps him and asks him why he came, yet she moved on ever since he stopped her from visiting him in the prison. Driver asks her if the boy he saw earlier is his, but she informs him that he is not because she aborted his pregnancy. Getting more upset, he moves out, and it turns out she knows he's killing the people in the video and tells him she hopes he succeeds. Killer and Lily get married and spend time together shooting at some bottles. Suddenly, Killer informs her that he wants them to start a family, but Lily gives him a condition to retire from his assassination works, which Killer accepts. Driver is heading to Nevada for his next target, and he turns out to be the exact guy that slit Gary. Working as a bouncer at a strip club, Driver learns that it would be difficult to move inside with a weapon. He leaves his gun and proceeds to move inside, tracking the man who moves to the washrooms. While inside, the man named Henderson, upon seeing Driver, he doesn't seem surprised. He informs him that he's been expecting him, revealing a blade he is equipped with. Driver finds ease in stabbing him multiple times with an ice pick. While taking his last breath, he requests him to call his son and tell him that he is sorry, and later pass out. After leaving him to die, Driver calls his son and delivers the message from Henderson. Killer, with the eager to still challenge Driver, he sets himself to finish his assassination mission. Lily is not happy since he had told her he retired on their wedding day. The following day, over the phone call, Cicero informs Cop that all the dead victims were confidential informants and requests him to dig about it. Cop, however, informs her that he would be heading to the hospital after getting a hunch. While on his way, Driver learns over the news that Henderson is still alive and is in the hospital, hence turning around. Cop has arrived at the hospital, and Killer also gets tipped that Driver would be returning to the hospital. Driver has arrived at the hospital and moved inside as the operation is ongoing. He then proceeds to the surgery room, where he finds Henderson and shoots him dead on the spot. Cop hears the shots, and upon checking on Henderson, he finds him dead, hence pursuing Driver, who is leaving the hospital. He nearly shoots him, and Driver shoots back, and after a short scuffle, Driver shockingly gets him at gunpoint. Cop, already given up knowing he is dead, Driver notices his badge and decides to spare him and leave. While on his way, Driver notices someone stalking him, hence increasing his speed. The assailant turns out to be Killer, but given his driving skills, Driver manages to show off what he does best by distancing him. Suddenly, he makes a drift in front of a truck, surprisingly facing Killer. He shoots his car tire, and Killer shoots him on the neck, but he flees, as his plan was to delay Killer but not to kill him. Driver moves to his second to last name on the list, who turns out to be his father. He believed that his father was the one who arranged to have him and his brother killed after they refused to give him a share of the money they stole in a bank job they pulled together. He learns that his father died 3 to 4 years back, and his stepmother assures him that his father couldn't be the one that double-crossed them. It is revealed that Marina was Gary's girlfriend back then, as Driver holds Gary's cremated remains. Cop gets congratulated at work, thinking he nearly got Driver. Cicero approaches him and reveals the latest info that the victims all happen to be confidential informants. The last on his list is Alexander Jardo, who is now an evangelist. Killer is still pursuing Driver Oswell as Cop, and while still preaching, the evangelist shockingly notices Driver. Knowing that these might be his last moments, he was already waiting for him. His family, however, shows up, but the evangelist informs them that they are fine. They move towards the banks, where Alexander reveals that he is a changed man now. With even adapting homeless children, he believes his good deeds could wipe out his sin. He reveals that the moment they killed Gary is when he broke down, and when he got detained, he turned his life around. He begs Driver for forgiveness, but with him holding the gun, he knows that his day has come to meet his Lord. After a lot of thoughts, Driver spares him by shooting in the air and tell him,
"Go back to your family."
Driver then moves to the church, knowing well that his list is done, though still confused on who double-crossed them. Shortly, Killer shows up to put him at gunpoint, but orders him to pick his gun so that they have a courtesy fight with a test of true skills. However, Driver declines, saying he has no fight with him. Shortly, he notices his list crossed out and inform him that there must be one person still alive, possibly the one that hired him to kill Driver. Cop has also arrived at the place, but shortly receive a call from Cicero and inform her that he is at the place already. Cicero tells him that she would be joining him shortly for backup, and Cop shortly intervenes Killer and Driver. He orders Killer to drop his gun, and after a little persistence he puts it down. Cop instantly shoots Driver in the head, and it's revealed he was the one that shot him in the past. Killer also realizes that Cop was the one that hired him, and it is revealed that Marina, who was Gary's girlfriend then, was the one that double-crossed them. He gives Killer the money for the job, but he declines because he wasn't the one who killed Driver. Killer then departs, telling Cop never to contact him again. Going through the confidential informant files, Cicero learns that Cop was their supervisor, figuring it out that Cop was part of the crew that attacked Gary and Driver. Cop calls Marina, telling her that they will be okay because he closed the case and would be joining her soon. Suddenly, Driver shoots him from the back, and it is revealed that he survived because of the metal plate in his skull. He finishes him and leave, and after a while Cicero and the others have arrived to find Cop dead. She decides to cover up Cop's involvement in the whole mess, presumably to allow his family to receive his benefits and retain some sort of dignity. Driver scatters Gary's cremation into the sea and later drive off in the sunset, bringing the movie to the end. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.